Good evening and welcome to Being Black and Craft, where we don't apologize for recognizing our influence on craft beer. This is Angie, the undeniable vixen, your host. We have a great guest this evening, but let's go ahead and get started on a little bit of beer news. So first up, we have Urban Garden. If you're in the DC area, one of the things that she kind of called out for was to get someone to do a mural, some great inspiration, and Doga, Dooga art, had this great interpretation. It looks amazing. I hope that you get to go and see it in person very soon while you're having your nice crafted beer from this woman-owned brewery that has just kind of raised out of the ashes like a phoenix. She's just amazing. I'm so excited for her. I'm excited for these different new chapters that are unfolding for her. So shout out to Urban Garden Brewing and go and check out the new latest installation. Then another friend of the show, Murmur, is now available in 48 states. So pretty much if anywhere in the US except for these two that we won't even name, you can get a nice bottle of rum. This is like, I can't describe it. It's a beautiful color. It's like this blush pink, but it is something that you can just drink, just sip on it. It's just amazing. And crafted cocktails, bar none. Murmur. So make sure you check them out. Go to their website. She even has merch. I think I mentioned it last week. But get you a bottle, get you some merch of Murmur. Then coming up, starting next week, right after Mother's Day, is American Craft Beer Week. So this is kind of alluding to independent craft beer, our mom and pops. But of course, here at Being Black and Craft, we're going to do it even more niche. We're going to seek out those entities that are in our area that are people of color beer during the week of May 11th through the 17th. So I want you to go ahead and check out your local brewery, especially if it's somewhere that you've heard of, you were curious about, and you want to check out, maybe even doing some beer mail with someone and getting a can or two of something that you might want to try out during that time. Then something that I've just kind of found up upon. Funky Town is the one that I saw this kind of scrolling through as I'm looking at Instagram, scrolling, minding my business, loving Jesus like I do. I heard about the Beer Culture Summit, and they're having a kickoff party May 7th. But let me tell you a little bit more about it. It is the 8th annual Beer Culture Summit that takes place May 7th through the 9th. So it's coming up this week, offering free virtual sessions and in-person events in Chicago. This summit brings together industry professionals and enthusiasts to discuss the history, social impact, and trends of beer, focusing on indigenous brewing perspectives and American history. So I think that's really amazing. You can't being in Chicago. It's, lightly spring, have a cold brew. You can go and check out Moore's, check out Funky Town and alike. And they're having a couple of different events. So that one, the kickoff is on the 7th. Then they're having an event called Brewing the Revolution, Enslaved Labor and Early American Beer on May 8th at Newberry Library at 6:30. So this is something that you might want to check out. If you can't get out there this time, I need you to put that on your calendar for next year. Beer Culture Summit. Then here in hometown in DFW, another friend of the show, Odd Muse, who has a location that's over in Farmers Branch, if you're familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but they have a new location that they're opening up on in Plano this coming Saturday on the 9th. So he's going to have mariachi bands. Of course, he's going to have some heavy hitters, the usual suspects as far as beer, and then some special releases. So Odd Muse has always been phenomenal, top-notch beer, great service. Bobby's an amazing person. We've had several beer shares there at Odd Muse. So go and check them out and celebrate as he kind of basically came into another place that was is defunct as far as a brewery, because we have several, but he's able to change that around and have a new location brewing right there in Plano, a little bit closer to home for me. Then another kind of friend of the show, Delta Dirt. So see here. So the co-founder, Henry Williams, has been going in signing labels, signing bottles to some surprise customers in Memphis. So if you're in Memphis, Tennessee, and you go to the Station liquor store as well as Joe's Wines in Memphis, you might stumble on a hand-signed bottle to one of the founders of Delta Dirt. So go and check them out. Then Uncle Whiteley's has been in the business for quite some time, moving and shaking as far as a ginger beer. We talked about that a couple of times during our conversation with the liquor connoisseur, and they are trying to do investments. So these are the final days to invest. So every step, every challenge, every win, small or large, has brought us here. What started out as for honoring Uncle Wadley himself, the founder and CEO, the grandfather, that's his grandfather, has grown into something much bigger and has led us to a place where we can continue to carry forward the legacy and culture and the spirit he represents. So we are in the final days of our We Funder campaign, and just thinking a lot about what this really means. It's more than just raising money to continue expanding and growing the way that we know that we can, but it's also sharing something that is poured so much into us. If you've been following, sharing, and supporting, or just watching, thinking about investing, now is the time. We'd really love to have you. So if you have the money or the capital and you want to invest in something that's really moving and shaking, Uncle Wadley's is something that you might want to consider. Go and follow them on their IG, click the link in their bio, and it gives you more information on how to invest. Then this weekend, I did something that was two things of my loves, which is drinking beer and looking for books, because I'm a nerd. And so we have an event called Get Lit, where you basically, they kind of get a brewery and kind of cultivate it to like a big book fair. So you get books, you get authors, you get like book accessories. I bought a couple of different little things, but just really just hanging out and getting lit. Had a beer or so, and I had a great and wonderful time. And I think that's something that we as adults that are still, nerds at heart, love to read and still like to be out. My introvert social capacity can go just so high. So this was really good for me. I was out there for 2 hours. my battery had plummeted, and I was ready to go home. So it was perfect. It was perfect. So I think that is it for the beer news. So, if I get everything situated, let me go ahead and introduce my guest. Good evening, DeAndre. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Awesome. So, let's see. So, this is really, I love the setup. I definitely love the setup.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, Let me, I guess, start at the beginning. Let me ask a little bit about you before we get into the delicious whiskey.
Okay.
So, tell me where you hail from, and is this, you said Maryland, right?
I'm in Maryland. So I live in Maryland currently,
Okay.
but I'm originally from Portland, Oregon. Yeah, so
Really?
way on the other side, on the other coast. Yeah.
There's black folks in Portland.
There's a whole bunch of us. A lot of us tend to stay a little bit. We get comfortable, but yeah, there's a lot of us on that side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what made you move to this side from Portland? What made you, was it school?
Yeah, it was cool. So I
Okay.
left Portland around 18. So went straight to school. Went to North Carolina A&T State University to study engineering. So went over there to study mechanical engineering for a while. And after school, I kind of stayed in North Carolina a little bit. So I was in North Carolina for 10 years, something like that. And then moved around the East Coast a little bit, the Northeastern corridor, just really working, being an actual engineer, doing stuff like that. So it was it was enjoyable. So I knew that I wasn't going to go back to Portland
Mhm.
to live after I left. My philosophy was kind of like I've lived here for 18 years. I mean, that's a long time. Kind of got a lot out of it, and I can come back whenever I need to catch my breath, and refresh my palate or whatever it may be. See my family, they can come see me, but it's time for a new perspective. I like the pace of the East Coast, and it keeps me motivated. I have that nice, easy going West Coast mentality already, but I need something to keep going a little bit. So I like the pace.
Okay. 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 So, decided to be an engineer. So, what um what drew you into being an engineer? Was it just math? Just that was just something that caught your fancy, or that's what that's where the money was going to be at?
I mean, engineering for me was just intriguing, honestly. Just I've always been interested in the way things work behind the scenes, how they go together, dissecting them, understanding the whys all the time. Honestly, just I would put stuff together around the house or stuff that was broken. I'd try to take it the rest of the way apart and figure out how to put it back together without the instructions type of thing. And then
Mm,
I went to technical school and I was in technical programs growing up. So I went to a technical high school uh, that you had to, it was a public school, but it was the one public school that you had to apply to actually get into. Um,
mhm.
we had majors. So my major in high school was drafting engineering. So I started drafting on a table, the big table that you use in the set
Yeah.
where you have to use the foot pedals. I did those, and then we moved into actual solid model, 3D modeling after that. And I got good in that. So we were getting college credits and stuff like that in high school, sophomore, freshman, junior, senior year. It was just interesting to me. So I enjoyed the way things work, which is, you know, why I'm doing this with.
Now, I don't know, but I think you're breaking up just a little bit for me. I don't
Okay.
know.
You
Um,
hear me?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So let's kind of, I guess, set the tone um, for Brother Whiskey.
hmm
So you said you walked into a whiskey room one day, and what did the story sound like, and what did you not hear that you felt that you needed to hear when you walked into the room?
Well, for me, I was in corporate America, and it was really kind of like one of my first jobs. If not my first job, it was my first job. So straight out of college, kind of. And at A&T or anyone that's in college, honestly, most of the time, unless you have a lot of money or your parents got a lot of money, you drink whatever you can get your hands on. You're not really that picky. Once you first turn 21 and you're drinking just to have fun and things like that. So I wasn't used to drinking luxury. I wasn't used to knowing what the mash bill was or what I was actually drinking, what the different types of liquors were. So it was mostly like cognac or vodka or something that we can get our hands on and we could all kind of chip in for the party.
Yeah.
We were all pitch in on a party. So that's what it was. And then once I got into corporate America, where cigar lounges, and all the networking events, there's whiskeys, there's 5-year-olds, there's 10-year-olds, there's Japanese, there's scotch, there's all these things. And
Hmm.
I just wasn't understanding. I didn't know. I had never been in that type of environment. My mother doesn't drink. My father doesn't drink. Like I, it just wasn't for me. I didn't know. So um, I felt out of place. Is really what it was. I felt really out of place. And so
Hmm.
me having that inquisitive nature, I took it upon myself to learn what I needed to learn about whiskey so that I could just associate myself with other people in my industry because I had worked my whole life to become an engineer. We know the exact same things. If I don't know more, I'm usually the youngest person in here. Most of the time, the only person of color as well. But I'm the only one who doesn't understand whiskey. I don't
Hmm.
understand whiskey. I don't understand what it is, why it's considered to be luxury, elegant, things like that. Why the process is more difficult than like wines and things of that nature. But I understood chemistry, I understood heat transfer, fluid mechanics, dynamics, project management. I understood all that stuff because I'm an engineer at this point and I've been studying these things. So I took it upon myself to go in and teach myself in the background because I'm not one that I don't like not knowing things. Just to be simple, and I wanted to understand why. So I taught myself, and then I started to teach others, really quickly. And because that was a tool to teach myself. And from there, I continued to just dive into it. I started tasting, then I refined my palate, and people started to call me Brother Whiskey. So I didn't necessarily actually give myself the name Brother Whiskey, but I accepted the persona of Brother Whiskey in 2019, which is when it was established.
Okay.
That's what I say. And then from there, I put my dream in a bottle. So it had never been the goal, but it can the goal at some point.
So when you decided that you were wanting to, I guess, deconstruct whiskey to learn it to take it down break
Yeah.
it apart like you've done in engineering, what was one of the first things that you decided to do? What did you look up, or what book did you kind of gravitate to?
I kind of just went to the bar for one, honestly. And I was in a separate I had to separate myself from everybody else at work. So like when we go, I was traveling different places and going on work trips, and we would all end up going to the bar together after work or whatever, on a train, doing all this stuff, and then we would end up doing team dinners. But then I would just have to separate myself after team dinner or something, and go back to the bar and just do a little bit of research and look at the bar and talk to the bartenders and the staff and stuff like that that's around that bar and ask them questions. I just got really inquisitive because I didn't even know where to really start. And I
Mhm.
mean, I just had to figure it out. So any and every way that I could, but that's how I started. I went to the bar and I asked the experts that were at the bar. You serve liquor all day, you make cocktails, you have to know the balance, you have to know what is what, you have to know where it comes from. And start to educate me a little bit unknowingly, but they educated me.
Okay. Okay. um what was one of the first principles that you learned that you were able to apply as you were starting to learn whiskey?
Ooh, that's a good question. First principles. Hmm. Honestly, I would say the different types of whiskey
Okay.
because you have your bourbons, and all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I didn't understand little sayings like that. I didn't understand like what ryes are, all that kind of stuff. So I had to differentiate what the different types of whiskeys are. before I could understand what they were individually. Then
Mhm.
move on to like the different mash bills, what they could be, the different regions, all that good stuff. So the first principle I learned was the differentiation between what whiskey.
Okay. Yeah, that I mean, that can be kind of daunting right there, that
Yeah,
to get it all, and just to kind of be able to uh get your hands on all of it, the different
right.
types. That could be really daunting to have.
Yeah.
Um what where was there well, okay, so in 2019 is when Brother Whiskey kind of was birthed, the
Mhm.
persona and everything.
Yeah.
So what was a moment when you thought, um, this might not work, but I'm gonna keep on going anyway?
Oh, as soon as it started. But I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, for anybody that started like it wasn't even a business at that point. It was a hobby because I mean, I started learning about it and doing all that stuff of that nature. But then anybody that's ever started a like Instagram page or something, and you have 0 followers, but you're expected to put out content to gain followers, it's
Mhm.
kind of like you have to step outside of yourself a little bit to even want to do that. You know, like I'm not a very like outgoing person. I talk a little bit sometimes, but only when I'm like passionate about it. So that's because I feel like I can speak to it because I have the knowledge. But like when I started my page, the Brother Whiskey page, it was like 0 followers. And then nobody knew anything. Like my circle didn't speak about whiskey. So I'm not
Mhm.
going and telling everybody in my circle, oh, go follow my whiskey page so we can learn about whiskey together. But I mean, I can tell them about whiskey when I'm learning it or I'm drinking it, but they don't want to hear about it all the time because they don't drink it as much. So I had to definitely find my community and other
Mhm.
people who wanted to drink whiskey, other people who enjoy whiskey, all that kind of stuff. And honestly, most coworkers, you don't want them following you on social media either because you don't want them talking, right? So,
Right.
so it wasn't as easy. It was really just like from the bottom up the entire way, and the relationships with other influencers or whiskey enthusiasts became genuine because there was nothing there for me. It was just really just I decided to step out on faith and figure out this journey on my own.
Are you one of the first in PG County to have a whiskey brand?
I don't know. I'm definitely not the first.
Okay.
Um, I'm not the first. There are others that came before me. Um, I know a few, so
Mhm.
I wouldn't say I'm the first. No.
Okay. Okay, but up in that top 10 though. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would
Yeah.
say it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it.
Okay. Okay. So, is there anything that you've had to unlearn about the industry that you wanted to be, that wasn't authentic, that you wanted to be authentic?
Unlearn. Hmm. So you said, is there anything like about the industry that I had to unlearn that I already knew?
Yeah, like some, like maybe like as far as like the principles, like there's certain things that people say this is how you're supposed to do that, and it's like, you know what? No, you like toss that and let's do this. Let's do this a different way.
Um, as far as hmm, I use some principles of like nosing and tasting and stuff like that. I kind of mix up a lot of the stuff that I've learned. But
Hmm.
as far as unlearning things, I can't say much about unlearning because
Okay.
a lot of it's accurate because it's honestly just chemistry, uh, and it's proven. And I really don't adopt or take much into my knowledge that isn't proven that I have proven. Um,
Hmm.
only because, and that's the engineering side of me. Like, if somebody tells me something, I'll try it or whatnot, but I'm going to go do the research to figure out, make sure that it's true anyway. And because I can't tell people that I'm giving them the knowledge and the education of whiskey, and I haven't done the research myself. I don't know the proof or where it comes from or why type of thing. So I'm not telling people something that I have researched most of the time. So as far as unlearning, I dismiss a lot of like the things that people say. But
Mhm.
actually, there's one thing. So that you taste with your taste buds. That's one thing. I had to unlearn that. You don't actually taste with your taste buds.
Okay.
You, you smell.
Mhm.
So what you smell is what you actually is. It goes back to your experiences and your memories in life, and that's why your nasal passages and everything are connected to your mouth. So, like I like to tell people when I do tastings, like if you when you had COVID, you couldn't taste anything because you couldn't smell anything, right?
Mhm.
So your taste buds
Right.
were mute. But that is the exact same. If you hold your nose closed when you taste it, you still won't be able to taste it because your taste buds are for more so like the feel and not for flavor.
Yeah, it makes me think about um when we were doing it was like training, and one of the principles for it's like, oh, the attributes of the spirit, um or even the beer horse
Mhm.
blanket. Like, I'm in Texas, but I don't know what a horse blanket smells like. So how am I supposed to capture that? So it's like that's really something that they have. It's like I don't know
Yeah,
where they got that from, but that's something that I really just like. I had to kind of like, okay, I'm gonna take your word for it.
of
Horse
course.
blanket. Yeah, that was always so strange to me. Um, so when you decided to make Brother Whiskey, tell me about, I guess, out of your compilations of everything that you've tried,
Yeah,
what may have been two or three things where you was like, I absolutely want this in my iteration, and I want to make sure I don't get this in my iteration.
easy. Rye and wheat. Absolutely wanted to have a wheated whiskey, but I absolutely did not want rye. And I'm just not. I'm not a rye guy, and honestly, I'm in Maryland, and Maryland is a rye region, but I'm just not a heavy rye drinker. I have a few that I found that I enjoy, so I can't say
Mm,
it's all rye, but I'm not just gonna go pick up a rye and kick it back all the time.
okay.
I have a few specific ryes that I may go to possibly, but yeah, I'm not a heavy rye. But I love wheated whiskeys, wheated bourbons, things of that nature. It's just smoother on the palate and more flavorful.
All right, all right. I love a good ride. Okay,
Okay.
but I know. Okay, so uh, wanted wheat, and one thing when I was looking, scrolling and looking at everything, I saw the different variations of Brother Whiskey, but I also saw it in crafted cocktails. So, um, is your audience that you're looking for, your demographic that you're looking for, are they, I guess, what is the percentage of just taking it straight out the glass and those crafted cocktail people? What's your percentage that you've seen so far that are wanting those?
That's a great question. Honestly, there are a lot of people that most everyone enjoys a cocktail. It is, and I would say it's levels to a cocktail, only because most people that drink neat enjoy a cocktail, but they enjoy a very spirit forward cocktail.
Hmm.
Um, a Boulevardier or an old fashioned, maybe even smoky, something like that. Something that has yeah, right, exactly. Me too. I like to smoke. So something that doesn't have a lot of additions to it, so they can still get the
Hmm.
character of the actual whiskey. And I'm that type of drinker. But I also enjoy cocktails who do have more things, who have a little bit more depth to them as well.
Hmm.
Um, but the mix, I would say probably around 60-40, possibly.
Okay.
Probably around
That's
60-40. But I would say everyone at least takes it neat, samples it neat, or has it neat first,
Hmm.
because they can drink it neat, but some people just prefer to, to draw out their drink. So they want to have something in their hand so they can hold on to for a while. So that they prefer a cocktail, or they understand that the fellowship mixes in very well because it has a highly wheat content. So it mixes in with a lot of other flavors, and so it comes to them naturally. Mixes in well with whiskey sours and, like I
Yeah.
said, boulevardiers and everything else. It mixes in well with a lot of different cocktails, and you won't actually be able to taste the whiskey itself, even though it is 101 proof. But you'll be able to feel it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if you don't have that rye component, that spice that people get, they're like, it's too much for them. And they're just
Yeah.
like, they're totally put off. Because rye is kind of like, you need to kind of, you're easing into a tub of warm water, kind of gradually kind of get into it. You can't just dive in. So I get that. Yeah, I definitely get that. If Brother Whiskey could speak, what story would he tell?
Oh, let's see. Brother Whiskey could speak, what story would he tell? He would tell a story of perseverance, honestly. Um, it was it was definitely a difficult road to get him here. And
Hmm.
it wasn't a lonely road, but it was a difficult road to get him. It was one of perseverance. It was ups and downs, ebbs and flows, things of that nature. And it wasn't as quick or overnight as it may look like, I would say. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes because there wasn't like a huge team or a bunch of people
Hmm.
sitting around the table trying to figure it out. There was a lot of connection and networking and favors and um, really just tasting groups and just a lot of information just compiled over years and years. Uh, and that was on top of everything else that was going on. So it will be definitely a story of perseverance because there was points where I didn't think it was going to be here at all. So I mean,
Yeah.
I observed the brand and whatnot in 2023, but the product didn't actually hit shelves until June of 24.
Okay.
So there was a lot of time in between, uh, and a lot of rework, a lot of negotiations, favors, all kinds of things, trips. It took a lot, but persevered to the end, and now we're on batch three. So
Oh, okay.
batch three is literally, yeah, batch three is coming out next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Exclusive, exclusive. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, okay. Well, let me go ahead and just break for a little bit of a game. So, want to play a little game with you called Whiskey and the Beat. So, what I'm going to do is give you some tasting notes, and we're going to see which R&B group you think it favors.
Okay.
Or this is more would be like this would be the iteration of that group. So first off, smooth, the taste is smooth, creamy vanilla, light oak. The aroma is sweet caramel and soft floral. Color is golden amber. Is that Jodeci or is that Boyz II Men?
I get that voice to me.
Okay. And why do you think that?
Because I give it boys to men because they're a little, Josie is smooth too, but boys to men a little more mellow, you know, and that's that amber color. I
Yeah.
give Josie a little darker, a darker hue to that color and a little more spice probably. They
Okay.
get a little, they got a few more, Devontae Swain. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So next, bold spice, pepper, strong oak, toasted wood, and clove is the aroma. Deep copper is the color. The vibe is confident, structured, and powerful. Is that Destiny's Child or SWV?
Mm. Ooh, let's go. The Destiny's Child is powerful. SWV is powerful. You playing tonight? Okay, let me see. I give it to SW.
Okay. Okay. You feel like they're bold and spicy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Destiny's Child is a little smoother. They got some spice to them too, but they got a lot of smooth records. They're a
Okay.
little cooler. They are powerful individuals. I will give them that. But as
Yeah.
a group, they're a little smooth.
Okay. So next, sweet honey, citrus, light spice, light gold in color, playful, fresh, energetic. Is that Floetry or Chloe and Halle?
Flourish.
Floetry. Mm-hmm. Not them youngins.
Nah, that
I think this is my last one. So rich caramel, chocolate, deep oak is the taste. Smoke, leather, toasted sugar is the aroma. Dark amber is the color. The vibe is layered, emotional, intense. Is that BBD or 2020 tone?
2020 tone.
Okay.
What do you think? You think BBD?
Because it said layered, I can see 2020 tone being layered. So that's why I would probably be over on that side.
Yeah, 2020 tone.
I do have one last one. So
Okay.
this one is an old group. Balanced oak, spice, subtle sweetness is a taste. Aroma is warm vanilla, baking spices. Colors rich amber. The vibe is grown, polished, and harmonious. What wrong one? What? Earth, Wind, and Fire or the Isley Brothers?
Ooh. Okay, you gotta give me that one again. I can't.
Oh, the notes.
Yes, please.
Balanced oak, spice, subtle sweetness is a taste. Aroma is warm vanilla, baking spices. The color is rich amber. The vibe is grown, polished, and harmonious.
The Isley Brothers.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's that harmonious that threw me in there. They got it. Yeah.
Okay. I get that.
Differentiate.
Come on. I appreciate you playing with me. That was some good energy there. I like where your head was going with that. That was really good.
That's some good questions. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So let's see. When people come to your events, or your tastings, what is the expectation that you're wanting them to bring, and what are you wanting them to leave with?
Well, honestly, I don't like to go into a situation with expectations because it's just me. I don't like to go into a situation with expectations saying that, potentially you could be let down or it's not going to be what you expected because you had your own expectations of a situation or an area or an event, something like that. So if you're going to go to have fun, go to enjoy yourself, go to meet people, go to fellowship, go for you. Don't go because you expect somebody to do something for you, right? I mean, go because it's a place that you wanted to be, a crowd that you felt like you wanted to be around, something that you could potentially contribute to the environment. So I would tell people when they come to fellowship. Don't come to just sit by yourself in the corner and drinking whiskey because whiskey was meant to be shared. Whiskey was meant to be conversed over. It was meant for fellowship. It's crafted for connection, you know. So I would say when you come to my events, you can expect a lot of fellowship.
So what is one of your I guess perfect pairs? If you wanted to pair something, doesn't matter what it is, as far as with Brother Whiskey, it could be food, it could be um uh like an occasion or cigar, something like that. What would be one of your ultimate pairings?
Man, look, I'm glad you asked that question because I have been doing something recently, and I've been trying. I have like 2 pairings coming up in the next 2 weeks, honestly. And I've been trying to get this pairing for a while. And I had literally been just talking to a guy that's out here. Um, whiskey and oysters.
Whiskey and oysters?
Yeah, I love oysters. They're definitely good. And I found a guy out here that does them amazingly. He shucks them, black guy too. He shucks them right in front of you. Put them in a bucket. Put some little oil on it. Some nice like black seed oil or some other stuff. Maybe a dash of hot sauce if that's what you want. If that's your flavor. But he has a bunch of different types of oysters, so they're not all the same. Some are salty, some are savory, some are not necessarily sweet, but they can have a sweet undertone possibly, depending on what you put on it and the juices and stuff like that. And then you mix
Mhm.
that with either the whiskey itself or you mix that with a cocktail with whiskey in it. You could also have the whiskey neat. You could have the whiskey on a rock. You could have the whiskey with just a drop of water, but there's all different variations of the same skew of whiskey with different types of oysters because it brings out a different flavor each, right? So just that type of pairing to me is really elevated, elegant, and it brings out the essence of what Brother Whiskey is. And that's why we say like elevate your spirit and define your style, because that's something that we really want to do. So I'm gonna do that pairing real soon.
You might need to put a trademark on that because I've never heard of doing anything like that.
Man,
And
it's,
that would be very interesting, especially where you are. I mean, this is like I'm surprised no one's hasn't done that before. But
yeah,
yeah, okay, that definitely sounds elevated. And I didn't know because I only do like charbroiled oysters. I've never had
okay,
them raw. I just never have. But I had no idea that depending on the oyster, that some are sweet, some are just a little salty, they do different things. I had no idea. I just thought an oyster was an oyster was an oyster.
yeah. I mean, honestly, he has been teaching me. So I seen him at like festivals and events and stuff sometimes, and then every time he has something a little different, he bring different variations of different oysters and stuff like that as well. So it's always something different.
Hmm.
So I had eaten oysters before I met him, like maybe once or twice, but I usually eat them charbroiled as well. But I had I think I went to Chicago on a work trip, and we were like at a meeting with a client, and he was like, "Oh, I'm ordering all these oysters, this and that. I want to eat some," and I'm like, I don't really want that in my head, but I'm like, I'm not about to disrespect this man. We trying to get this contract, so let me try it at least, right? And it was okay, but it wasn't my flavor at that time. But few years later or whatnot down the line, the palate changes.
Hmm.
And now every time I see him at an event, I'm like, okay, what you got today? Like, run me one of those, two of those, three of those. Let me find something.
Yeah. So, since you do have been doing traveling with the business and everything, as far as like your day one business, um, have you did any travel as far as international travel where you're able to try other whiskeys around the world?
Yeah, yes, I have. I've traveled. I have personally. It wasn't necessarily for the business,
Okay.
but I've traveled myself around to a lot of places in the world for work and things of that nature, as well as just vacation and personal travel with the family or something. So I've gone to a lot of different places and tried a lot of different whiskey. And there's not a lot of American whiskey outside of the country. So it's good to get to try other things. And honestly, during COVID, when a lot of those tariff laws came down and the laws changing, things like that, I was just
Mhm.
ordering stuff. I would get it over here. I got a lot of Japanese whiskey, a lot of scotches and things like that because I also wasn't a scotch guy um, until my palate started to mature a little. I started tasting things during COVID from all the different regions and getting it in because we couldn't really leave
Mhm.
home as much on lockdown. So why not drink whiskey at home? We can't go anywhere anyway. So bring
Right.
it in. All the tariff laws are down, so we don't have to pay out the wazoo for all this whiskey. And now I get to collect it. I buy one and store one, things like that. So yes, I tasted a lot. And
Okay.
also other things from like grappa and a whole bunch of other stuff too. Like, I just tasted a lot of liquor, but mostly whiskey. Even
Cool.
some Indian whiskey. My guy, when I was in DC still, he had a lot of Indian whiskey that I was able to taste. He was an Indian guy that owned the store. So he would just, I would go up there and he was just like, yeah, I got this thing for you this week. I'm like, yeah, okay. I think, I guess I'll try it. I mean, it's cheap right now. Maybe it won't be cheap later. So I'll try it. And every once in a while, it wouldn't be my flavor, but then I'd put the bottle away and then come back to it a year or two later or something and be like, oh, it's actually kind of good. Maybe
Mhm.
my palate has matured just a little bit. And honestly, India, they consume probably the most whiskey in the world. I believe it's India
Really?
still. Yeah,
Oh,
and they have a lot of whiskey brands.
okay. Um, let's talk about Brother Whiskey as far as the component to, I guess, legacy building.
Mm.
So, what does legacy building look to you? How do you feel like you're getting towards that goal?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. I would say I am definitely building this to be a legacy brand and a generational brand because it is near and dear to me. So, for instance, the name itself. Some people ask why brother, why not brother, all that good stuff. It's because I am a brother, right? But I am Brother Whiskey myself. The brand, somebody gave me that name. I earned it. It wasn't given
Mhm.
to me. It wasn't something that I just came up with out of the blue. Um, I literally earned it and I lived it for a long time. And I had to do the work to understand exactly what whiskey was, how whiskey worked, all that kind of stuff. It's teaching people about whiskey, redefining the whiskey space and what whiskey actually represents. Because I didn't see it where I was or anywhere at that point. We were very underrepresented and still are. And less than, I mean, our demographic as African American people consume the most alcohol by any different demographic, but we own the least amount in category.
Absolutely.
So there are less than 1% of owners of whiskey brands. And
Mhm.
that is what I meant by there's only one story in the room. We weren't a part of that story. And we've never been a part of it. Well, we've been a part of the story, but the story started after we created, right? So we would make the whiskey, but they didn't tell you that it was made by us or made by the slaves or whatever it may be. They didn't tell you
Right.
who actually was behind the whiskey. They just told you, I have some whiskey for you. This is what I need. Because you don't need to know anything else, right?
So, have you looked back in your ancestry history of anyone that was part of the uh, making process as far as like whiskey or any spirits? Yeah.
Nah,
Like,
I
no?
haven't. I haven't actually. No.
It
That would be
probably
interesting
is
though.
though.
It's possible. It's
Yeah.
definitely possible. Yeah.
Okay. That would be interesting to kind of check out. Okay.
Yeah.
So, um, at this table, we're wanting to, we have Brother Whiskey, and we're on the road to legacy building,
Mhm.
but we're not a monolith. So, what could you say to people that are out there that are also wanting a seat at the table? Uh, Something that they should start out doing, maybe something that you may have learned, something as far as like, definitely do this and make sure you don't do that.
Okay. I've actually been a mentor for a couple of people that were looking to have like RTDs and things like that. And
Mhm.
the one thing that I've expressed to them is to keep going, to make sure that you persevere through it all, because being a brand that was bootstrapped and really just getting it out the mud straight from the beginning, um, it's not going to be easy no matter what, especially if you don't have the contacts, you don't have the connections, you don't have the network, you don't know anyone else that's done it. You really just need to, you kind of have to live it, is what it really is. You kind of have to live it for a while in order to make your dream come true. And if it's not something that you want to continue to do to make a legacy brand, it'll be a lot more difficult for you because you're not going to want to know the why of everything. You're going to just want to get into it to kind of just own a liquor, or be known for having a liquor and things like that. It may work
Mhm.
because anybody can launch a brand, but not everybody can keep one.
Very true. Very true. Um, and I guess um, being being a mentor is so impactful, um, to kind of to kind of see where you've gone,
Mm,
and how you've kind of maintained everything.
yeah,
Uh, I can see how that would be really, really important for someone that that is just starting out, and they're wanting to kind of like this not working out for me. This is not what I thought. This is not what I thought this was going to be.
yeah,
Um, Nobody said it was going to be this hard. And then also seeing how um, as much as just especially like in the beer industry, we see folks come and we see folks uh, have to bow out or get end up being resilient and having to start over, because I
mm,
think we've had a couple of those things happen.
yeah.
But what would you say to people that are out there, that are ready to throw in a towel, outside of just keep going, some other nuggets, or even a story that you might be able to regale them with as far as your perseverance?
You definitely got to you have to be ready to pivot on a dime, literally at any point. You just, because not everything is going to go your way. At any point, things can go different. Um, for instance, on which one is it? I had a lot of demand for my brand. When I came out the box, I didn't necessarily know what the demand was going to be, what it was going to look like, if people were going to support it or not, but I knew it was something that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And straight out of the box, I had a lot of support. People actually enjoyed the brand. They enjoyed the juice. They loved the packaging, all that good stuff, right? So they were buying. And then I had distribution. I was online. I said 49 states. I ship 49 states type of thing. It was just going good. But then you run out and you bootstrap. It's like, what happens next? Like, where does the money come from for this next batch?
Yeah.
And yeah, so you got to figure out, like, while you're fundraising and running the brand all at one time and trying to figure out your accounting and your marketing and everything else, what's next? You always have to have a plan, because you get punched in the face and it's like, all right, well, I'm almost out of product, but I have to keep going because people are expecting the product, they're expecting something. You can't just stop. You can say I'm sold out easily, but you can't just stop the brand until you get more. You have to do something. So honestly, people will watch like my videos and stuff, like my Wednesday videos and other things like that I do behind the brand. I honestly started, and I'm telling you, like, I started the behind the brand Wednesdays because I didn't have any more product. I was sold out, but I didn't want to lose the attention of my audience. I didn't want to
Right.
lose people and that supported me that had carried me this far. So I started telling them what's behind the brand, issues that I was going through, who I was supporting, who was supporting me, what it actually took to run a business of this magnitude to keep it going. And in the process, I started gaining more support. But those videos were definitely difficult because I'm editing myself and it's actually more work for me, but I'm still fundraising and I'm still reaching out to my on premise, my off premise, my distributors. I'm reaching out to my distillers and my co-packers and all that kind of stuff, trying to figure out how we can pay for this product for this next run, this next batch, trying to make deals, doing all the stuff in the background because I have to keep going because, like you said, it's a legacy brand. So I can't pass it on to somebody or expect somebody else to understand how much work or have somebody understand, how much it means to me or to them if I was going to quit just because I didn't have enough funding to get another batch. So
Mhm.
I would say that perseverance is key. And you really just have to be ready to pivot on a dime at any moment because anything could happen. Like, for instance, there's a glass shortage for batch two. I didn't have glass. I couldn't get the bottle, but there was no bottle left in the country. And like, you would think, like, how does that even work? But the bottle, the
Mhm.
solid bottle that I had, this has happened. They hadn't been making it anymore. I don't know why or where. So I had to find a whole new bottle distributor type of thing. And it just happened to be some a couple months later. So once I had the money, I couldn't even get bottles. And then I had to find different corks, have different closures and stuff like that. And so it's like anything that can happen will happen, but you have to persevere
Mhm.
through. And so at some point, I mean, if you want to do it, it will absolutely happen. But you have to put in the time and the effort to make it because nobody's going to give it to you.
Okay. Well, that is definitely wisdom and words to live by. Uh, I really enjoyed talking to you, Deandra. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing Brother Whiskey with us and you and your moniker and your persona of that. And if you're in the Maryland area, where can we get Brother Whiskey just before we close out?
Yes. So for those of you who are not in the Maryland, D.C. area, you can buy Brother Whiskey at www.brotherwhiskey.com. That is BROTHA whiskey.com. We ship to 49 states. So you can get it right there. Batch number 3 will be available next week on our website. We ship directly to you. If you're in the DC and Maryland area, if you look at our website, we have a good amount of stores in Maryland as well as DC. We're on premise as well as off premise. Follow our Instagram, which is Brother Whiskey at Brother Whiskey as well. So yeah.
Okay. You can get it. You can get that wherever. So it's no excuse. You can get a bottle of Brother Whiskey coming soon. The next batch is on its way. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone who joined us for being Black and Craft. We don't apologize for recognizing our influence on craft spirits as well. So thank y'all so much. And of course, this is my favorite day. May the 4th be with you. I got my shirt on because I'm Star Wars everything. I'm that nerd. I'm that Black nerd. So I want to thank y'all and have a wonderful evening.